Chapter 12. Stupid damn gun! Davis Pratt jerked at the shotgun's cartridge holder as he stumbled through the bushes, wishing that he knew what the hell he was doing, or better yet, that he wasn't in the middle of the damn jungle with Rembert. Of all the men to be teamed with, something just had to go wrong when he was out taking samples with Harold Rembert. Wait a second! Rembert gasped from behind, and when Pratt felt the touch on his shoulder, he very nearly turned and shot the fat geologist. Jesus, he's trying to give me a heart attack. Rembert, keep your damn hands off of me! Pratt could hear the panic in his own voice, and it only made him angrier and more afraid. He'd never seen a bug before. 11 years doing soil tests for the company, and he'd seen a video, but that was all. And that was one of them. Had to be. And what the hell is it doing on Bunda? I don't think it's still coming, Rembert wheezed, and Pratt stopped, turning to look at the jungle that had closed up behind them. Leaves, grasses, branches and ferns, the early afternoon sun playing across the seemingly solid mass of green. No tall, shining darkness, no rounded, phallic skull or drooling teeth, no claws. Maybe Rembert was right. I think we lost it, Rembert said, his jowly young face flushed and dripping with sweat. He bent over, hands on his knees, gulping air in rugged lungfuls. "We've got to get back to the station," Pratt said, somewhat winded himself. He wasn't in as rotten a shape as Rembert, but he also wasn't a young man anymore. "Got to report this." Rembert didn't answer, working too hard to breathe. Pratt held up the shotgun, a heavy old thing that he'd carried for 6 months on Bunda and never fired before today, before 20 minutes ago. He pumped it, the satisfying ka-chuck of the deadly weapon making him feel only slightly less terrified. It seemed to be working now. It was stuck before, after he'd fired at the thing that had burst into the clearing when they'd stopped for lunch. No reason to think that a damn monster was going to jump out of the bushes like grinning death and stop. Pratt took a deep breath, nodding to himself, the sweat running hot down the back of his neck. Couldn't panic. Had to keep it together. Back to the station. 2.5 clicks was all. Tell Vincent. Load everyone up on the copters. They only had 2 passenger ships capable of spaceflight, but each one held 20. It wouldn't even be too crowded, and they'd be safe. They could just orbit, wait for the company to send an HK team, people trained to fight the bugs, to keep them from spreading, and... That was an XT, wasn't it? Rembert breathed. One of those bugs, like in the manual. Pratt felt another surge of anger. Harold Rembert, fat and useless and as dense as mercury. Yeah, and we could be calling for help right now if you'd grabbed the damn radio. Rembert straightened up, his chins trembling. The radio? I was busy ducking. You fired 3 times and didn't come close to hitting anything but me. Pratt wanted to punch him, right in his fat face. So he wasn't a crack marksman. He checked dirt for acidity for hell's sake. If he'd ever suspected that he'd be running through a stinking jungle with a bug on his ass, he would have practiced more. I won't miss next time, he snapped. And you still could have remembered the radio. Rembert didn't answer, his round face suddenly still, his eyes wide. He held up one bloated hand, and crashed through the leaves in front of them. The thing leapt out into the open, shrieking, not 5 meters away. And Rembert screamed and ran. Pratt jerked the shotgun up. Take that, you! Boom! The blast made a huge hole through the leafy branch of a banyan tree, a full meter to the right of the creature. It reached out, its impossibly long and skeletal arm tipped with razor claws, and jerked the shotgun out of his hands, hissing, its spiny tail whipping through the grasses at its feet. Fuck. Pratt turned and sprinted away, his balls crawling into his lower belly, his sweat turning sick and cold. He ran, not hearing if the monster was behind him, not about to look, charging into the trail of still-moving leaves where the geologist had gone. The world turned into a green and sunny blur, flashing past like some terrible dream. Rembert! He screamed, sorry for every crummy thing he'd ever thought about him, wanting nothing more than to not die alone. Please not that. And there, kneeling next to a native tree, hunched over, his back to Pratt. "Thank you." "Rembert, we can't stop. Come on, get up." Rembert didn't move, but Pratt would make him, drag him if he had to. He tripped to a stop and grabbed Rembert's fleshy shoulder, pulling. And Harold Rembert fell backwards. But it wasn't the geologist. Couldn't be. This man had no face, only a smooth, strange mask. Bugs. Baby bug things. No, 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 no. The thought became screams, but he didn't realize it, too horrified by what he was seeing. No, 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 no. It was a giant, pulsing, spidery crab, its thickly corded tail wrapped around the fat man's throat. It was impregnating him. That was what they did. It was how they killed. And knowing what it was doing was enough that something in his mind gave way. He didn't hear himself cry out because too much of his awareness was taken up by the terrible, terrible thing in front of him. Pratt was still screaming when he saw the other one skittering across the fertile ground, almost too fast to see. Still screaming as it coiled its prehensile tail against the dirt and lunged at him, slick, muscular fingers sliding into his hair, a soft, wet proboscis plugging his still screaming mouth. Davis Pratt stopped screaming. Out loud, anyway.